Yo, what up? How's everybody doing tonight? Saturday Night Live. Hope you guys are having a great night. Um, my night is very busy, but I did want to take the time to thank you guys. We hit 2,600 Facebook likes today. We hit 2,600 Facebook likes, and I did want to say thank you guys for all your support, continuing to share our lives, share the content from this page to reach more people all the time. It is definitely something that does not, that definitely is very much appreciated on my end. Thank you guys so much. 2,600 Facebook likes. Tonight, we are here to spread hope to the hopeless. I have a special guest behind the scene, a personal friend of mine who definitely had the odds stacked against him most of his life, if not all of his life. And we're going to find out more about that. But he is here. He is behind stage. I'm going to pull him up to the video here. What up, Chad?
What's up? What's up? How you doing, Phil?
We're good. We're good, bro. We're good. So we are here. And you are here to tell your story. There's a bunch of people on right now. And we are live on Saturday night. And it is going to be a great time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody that's coming on. If you guys wouldn't mind, please share this on your page. Share this in recovery groups. Share this on your community page. I don't care. Let's share it because we don't have nothing to hide here. We're sharing hope to the hopeless. Chad's going to be sharing his story, and we hope to touch someone tonight to help them change their lives. Right, Chad?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, anyway, without further ado, I will let you take the floor and you can lead us however you would like. It is your story. And I want to thank you for coming on. And we are definitely encouraged by your testimony and your inspiration.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, man. Thanks for the opportunity. It's been a long, hard road, man. I'll just start by saying I'm grateful and thankful, and I got a lot of gratitude. We'll just kick right into it, man. I want to touch base on my childhood. We started out, every time I told my story, it's always been from the addiction side, and I'm going to get into that. But I never really brought up that as a child, my male role models in my life were, were alcoholic men. They're all felons, convicts. So I grew up around my dad and all his friends, drinking and talking about prison stories and fighting, and my mom and dad really always fought a lot because of the drinking and inside the house. And so I grew up around that my whole life. What I got out of that as a kid was it was cool to associate yourself with prison and violence and the drinking and all the stories I was told and heard. It was really all glorifications of jail and prison. So as a kid, I thought that was cool. Wow, these guys are badass, and dad was a Golden Gloves boxer in prison, and wow, these guys, they're my role models. I thought they're all tough and cool, but not realize until I got older that it was a bunch of BS, because prison ain't fun and there ain't nothing glorious about it. So growing up in the household, like I said, there was alcohol, and my mom and dad fought all the time. Me and my brother grew up, and we were pitted. All our relatives told us we were like pitted against each other to fight each other all the time. And we would always fist fight and fight from little kids. We would fight against each other, and they would all the cousins, uncles, and dad's friends, and dad would egg us on, and they thought it was funny, to watch me and my brother fighting with each other. So as we got older, that fighting got worse and worse and worse, and we were like, we end up growing up to be best friends, but we also grew up like our worst enemies, you know? So right from an early childhood, we were already set towards violence in our life to where when we got to schools, we would get in confrontations with people. There'd be all kinds of fighting going on, getting kicked out of schools and, all that stuff. I'll jump up into the teen years. Um, I would say I'd um, probably about 12 or 13 is when I started getting in a lot of trouble. We started stealing a lot, going to the malls and stealing on, just robbing everything we could get our hands on. Um, the violence in the house with the stealing and bringing stuff home ended up landing me and my brother. We ended up getting shipped out to group homes because our mom couldn't handle us and our dad couldn't handle us after, I would say monsters they raised, because mom wasn't cool with it, and that's what caused a lot of the fighting was the relatives and dad egging us on fighting. And then as we got older, they couldn't control us, you know. So as we got older and started doing all the boosting and stuff and fighting with people and each other, it got so bad in the house, my mom would call the cops on us and have me or Sean or both of us shipped out to group homes, or jail first, of course, and then eventually group homes. So I spent a lot of my teenage years in and out of jail, juvie hall, landed in multiple group homes up north, down south, Austin's Boys Ranch, group homes up north, stuff like that. I would say probably about 11, 12 years old. Started dabbling, drinking my dad's liquor, kind of sneaking dad's booze and beer, cigarettes, Um, started smoking weed with some of the neighbor kids when I lived down on West 7th Street. And, that just went on for years, hanging around, smoking weed, drinking. As we got older, I got older, around 15 or so. We were running around the west side of St. Paul, and we started running around with, there's guys down at the end of the block that would hang out by the store. And these guys were all gangbangers and stuff. And this was like early 90s, like 94, 95. So every day we'd pass them, say hi, hey, what's up? Maybe smoke some weed with them, have a couple of drinks, try to fit in. You know what I mean? Eventually, we started hanging out there a lot with these guys, and seeing what they were about. Started getting involved in the gangbang and stuff. Started stealing out of the store right there on the corner for these guys and for ourselves, and trying to make a name for ourselves. And then we eventually progressed into, just getting in fights. A lot of gang fights started happening. Everybody was picking and choosing sides over there on the west side. It got pretty crucial. But I would say I only smoked weed, did a lot of drinking, probably till like 17, 18. Really didn't mess with nothing else. Okay, hang on, let me go back. About 15 or 16. The only hard drugs we tried like LSD, maybe some shrooms. Those are psychedelics. So I wouldn't consider that addicting drugs, but mind altering as the same. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit of that, I got a job down at Mancini's when I was like 16. I think that's where I picked up drinking a lot more. The guys I was hanging out with, some close buddies, we'd go to work. We'd smoke weed before we get into work. We'd smoke weed in the break room with all the cooks and waitresses, and you know what I mean? Get off work and we were allowed to drink. You know what I mean? And I would sneak drinks from the bars when they were closing and come home, and walk across the High Bridge drunk. So that 15 to 16, 17 years old, we got mixed up in the gang stuff, and I was working there and doing a lot of heavy drinking. Um, so I had a period where maybe it was about a year or two, I think, where I didn't go to jail for a little bit. That's because I was just running around with some stoner dudes, and we didn't really get in too much trouble. We smoked a lot of weed, and I went to work and got drunk, you know. So I'd say about 18 is when things kind of went south, started going south. That's when we started running around with some of the Mexican homies on the west side, and we started doing cocaine, and was introduced to cocaine. And instead of buying it, we had friends, and we would get large amounts of it, and we'd sell it, you know, and we'd run around and sell little 20 bags and half grams and grams and balls and shit of cocaine to support our own habit. So at the end of the week, on the weekend, we could get high and not have to pay for nothing. Um, 18, 18 through 20, there was a lot of fights. We were in a lot of confrontations with people on the west side. People were getting stabbed and shot, and a lot of we had our little crews to where, you know, we get out and jump on dudes, and they jump on us at other times, and it got real hairy over there, man. I mean, you couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't go and get Taco Bell without seeing somebody getting in a fight. So it was really, really violent, unsafe. I always told my brother, hey, if you go anywhere, make sure I'm with you or somebody's with you that you know ain't gonna run, because odds are you're gonna see somebody and you're gonna get in a fight. You know, so I don't know. Let's see, about 18 to 20. Um, in between that time, I was introduced to methamphetamines from a friend, and funny thing is, I'm like, well, what's that? And he called it what he called it. Glass. Yeah, he called it glass at the time. He was like, it's glass. And I'm like, well, what the fuck's that, right? So he's like, man, dude, you do a line of this, bro, and it'll keep you up all night, dude. And you can do with the girl, you know, all night. I won't be too profane on here, even though I'm sure everybody's heard it, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, so that was like a turn on to me. I was like, oh, really? So I ended up, he hooked me up with a friend he has, him and his girl. And we went out to my trailer and did that shit all weekend. And I mean, we might have done 4 or 5 lines, and we were up the whole weekend. And sorry, wifey. And I was like able to perform sexually like all night with this person, you know, and that was like super. That was my introduction to methamphetamine. And I thought I was Superman, and that was it. I was stuck. And little did I know it would have cost me 20 years of addiction. But that one night of having fun and using it as energy, make you feel good, you know. And on top of that, it's about acceptance, you know. Everybody wants to be accepted into a crowd or amongst other people or amongst women, you know, and be the cool guy, you know. And I was always that guy, you know what I mean? I always wanted to be popular, and my brother and me were, you know, always showing out, trying to be popular people, and you know, and we kind of achieved that goal in the wrong way, you know what I mean? So, um, so I spent 18 to 20 years old, really just running the streets, selling. I got into selling the meth with a couple friends of ours, and it was you know, all balls to the wall then, you know. I wasn't really, I didn't know about addiction then. I didn't know that this stuff was going to grab me by the nuts and not let me go for 20 years. So all I thought was we were out having fun, and it was going to end. You know, I'm going to get older. It's going to be done, da da da. You know, kind of like smoking weed when I was a kid or sipping a drink. But it eventually led to everybody around me. I mean, I started seeing how people were hallucinating off the stuff. People were getting violent. I was getting violent. Um, after being up for a few days on the stuff and you're disturbed, you would just snap out if somebody pissed you off. Um, Went to some parties. I ended up. I inflicted a lot of pain on some people. I won't get into um, details about it because, I don't want to incriminate myself, but I pretty much everything I've done, I've gotten caught for and done the time for. So, I would say I was with my kids, Ma Gina, my two kids, Ma Gina at the time. Um, 20 years old. I was at a friend's house. She was pregnant with my son and my oldest son, Chad. And there was a confrontation outside, and my brother was fighting with the guy. So someone came and told me about it, and I was been up for like 3 days. So I went running outside. I was just crazed out of my mind, and I seen my brother fighting a guy in the street. And first thing I did was stab the guy, and you know what I mean. I stabbed him, and it was someone we knew, but they were having a fight. So I initially when I did it, I freaked out and was like, "Oh my god! I just did this to so and so. Oh my god!" So I took off running. I hid out. Um, my brother came and got me from a place I was hiding out for like 2 weeks. A couple weeks later, him and my friend wanted to take me out of state. They said, "Hey, we got a place to hide. So and so knows somebody over here." So we went to North Dakota. Anyway, that didn't work out. We get there, the person was like, "No, this ain't gonna work." So they take me back. We're heading back to Minnesota. We stopped in a small town of Millbank. Um, they just took me away from the spot I was at, so I was kind of withdrawn. We didn't have no more meth or nothing on us. So we ran into some friends of my buddy. Um, and he's like, "Hey, they said we could stay here 2 nights." So we stayed there. That night, my brother and him and some girls went and got some alcohol. Um, Next morning, we drank all night at a quarry with these girls and a couple buddies we had just met. So the next day, we went out to this little lookout in this town, Millbank, South Dakota. And we were drinking and partying with, it was pretty fun, whatever, at the time. And we went to leave because it started raining. So we left with our 2 carloads of people. And these guys were on top of the hill. They started throwing bottles down the hill. Well, they're throwing the bottles at our vehicles. And we were like, what the hell's going on? So I kind of lost my cool. I told them, "Hey, pull the car over." I got out of the car. These girls are freaking out, like, "What's going on?" I ran up the hill. As I'm running up the hill, my brother starts running behind me, and he's like, "Watch out, that guy's got something behind his back." And I'm like, "All right." So I happen to have a little knife, like 2 inches big, just a tiny little thing. My head was still kind of messed up. I was in a fog. I'd been doing drugs for like 2 years straight and with no consequence. So I get up to the top of this hill, and this guy's like goes to swing a bottle at me, and I swung and I cut his throat, and I didn't know I did, and I just ran to the next guy, and I cut this guy, and before I knew it, we were fleeing the scene. We separated from the friends we were with, and we were on the highway headed back home, and freaking out, because on the way there, my friend said, "This is what you did," and I didn't notice it, So we get arrested. I get held in Buffalo, Minnesota, for about a week, and I'm, They had an APB out on. We had a lime green Regal with T-tops in 86, I think it was. Pretty obvious car. Yeah, I wasn't getting away from that. You know what I mean? Um, so they had us in there. I had to, I waived extradition, sent me to South Dakota. We sat there and, in the county, and, a cop came in one day and he goes, that guy almost died. We had to helicopter him to the hospital, and they had a clamp on his main artery, and the clamp came off, and I guess it was shooting blood in the helicopter, and he was like, the guy almost died. You're really lucky he didn't die, because you'd be going to prison for life. And I'm shitting myself, because I'm 20 years old. I just had a son, and you know what I mean? Come to find out a week later, I get the paperwork, and they charged me with attempted murder. 25 to life was the years they wanted to give me. And so I called my dad, dude. I ain't even gonna lie, I was like a little bitch. Dude, I was like, I broke down, man. I was crying to my dad, and I was like, they're trying to give me 25 years and shit, And my dad's like, just shut up. They're not gonna do that. Rah, rah, rah. And that old tough guy, But he did, Dad, down the road, he always had our back, but I don't think he realized the monsters he created with, all the stories and all the people drinking and fighting around us growing up. I don't think he realized what he did, until something like this happened. And I think as he got older, he might have regretted it. But when we get older, that's our decision to make, the choices we do. It's not mom or dad's, So, I mean, I look at it and I go, that's why, but I don't blame them. I had to get a drink there. I got to breathe.
You're doing great, brother.
I'm just talking and talking. I don't want to lose anything. You know what I mean? So
you're not. I got notes. Written.
Good.
Good. We got a bunch of people watching right now that if we lose a spot, they're going to throw that comment on and tell us where we were.
Good.
They always do.
I hope we got all kinds of people on there, and I hope people who said they're going to watch are watching. If they ain't, you guys reach out, let them know. They better show up. I'm almost there though. But anyway, love you guys. Thanks for watching. So this here was my first prison bit. So we went through the court process, couple hearings. We finally got to a hearing. I can't remember what it was, pre-trial or whatever. And there was one of the guys out of 3 guys that were assaulted. Well, 2 were assaulted. 1 ran and hit in the car. The one guy was a bigger guy. He was really a tough ass kind of guy, and he was acting really tough on the witness stand. And he was supposed to be a victim. And when they asked him certain questions, he lashed out with like anger, and he looked too much pride type of shit, And like, hey, were you knocked out? How come you can't remember what happened? Da, da, da. My attorney was asking him, were you knocked out? And he's like, no, no one can knock me out. And this guy is supposed to, and I'm like, okay, but my buddy knocked you to fuck. No, but on that level, though, he's supposed to be playing the victim. So he's not playing the victim. And I look over at the prosecutor, and the prosecutor's just shaking his head like, this fucking guy. You know what I mean? Because he's really fucking her case up. So anyway, it dropped from 25 years to 12 years. And after this dude was on a stand, we took a recess. And the prosecutor came to my attorney, and I was right there, and he goes, I'll give you 6 years. Take it or leave it right now. And I was like, I'll take it. So I took the 6 years, because 6 years is better than 25. or 12, you know what I mean? So I took that. I was out on bail at that time. We had got bailed out. It took like 2 months, but I wanted to get bailed out, say my goodbyes. You know, my son was God, how old was Chad? I think Chad was 9 months old or something. He was young. So I said my goodbyes, you know, and whatever. Oh, you're gonna stick by me and blah blah and whatever, you know, to the BM. Yeah, you know, 4 years who's gonna stick around anyway. So I go and do that bit, you know. South Dakota, Sioux Falls. I jumped around over there like five five different prisons. I really learned a lot about standing on your own. Like I could always handle my own fights and stuff, but you know, I gotten too comfortable over here with, you know, hey, if I got a problem, I got my brother, my boys. We'll light all these dudes up in a big ass brawl in the middle of the street, right? But you know, over there, I learned real quick. You know, I ain't got no friends. You know, it's not like going to prison here, where you walk in, you're in E-house, you had 10 motherfuckers going, hey, bro, what's up? You need a care package? No, it ain't like that. You know, so um, I grew up a little bit over there. Not much. You know, I was 20, I was just going on 21. So I got out right before my 25th birthday. Um, and, you know, I don't know. You know, I'm in there talking about I'm not going to do that shit no more. No drugs, no drinking. You know, hey, man, I'm gonna try to live my life and this and that. And, you know, I believe, I don't know if it was the night I got home, but, well, my cousin, my dad, my uncle came to pick me up, okay, from Sioux Falls. On the way home, my cousin fires up a joint in the back of the van. And my dad and them's got beer, you know, and I'm like, oh boy. So I mean, I didn't say oh boy, I was happy. I did 4 years. I drank a cold beer and I smoked a joint. And that was the kickstart right back into the old life, you know. I got home. Yeah, you know. And I just, yeah. Whoever, you know, you're in your 20s, beer ain't really that big a deal. You don't, yeah, it's not gonna do nothing. Um, so I get home. We ended up having my brother and everybody had a big old welcome home party. Um, I ended up, you know, we went there, drank a little bit. It was a big old party, all kinds of people, friends, you know, whatnot. Um, I had a buddy of mine pull me away from the party. Hey, let's go over here real quick. So we went over to the west side from West 7th Street and ended up going to some old Mexican dude's house that I knew. And we ended up doing coke all night. You know, like the first or second night I was home and totally left everybody at my welcome home party. I got back there, a big fight broke out. My uncle had some broken windows in the house. There was a big brawl, everybody drinking, and I totally left the party, you know. And and nothing changed, dude. I mean, I came back and it was the same shit, you know. So, oh, I don't know. It just progressed from there, man. I tried. I got into all my friends when I got home were clubbing. When I'm in my early 20s, so everybody's at that age where while I was in prison, everybody started going to strip clubs, clubbing, taking ecstasy, which I'm like, what the fuck's that? What's ecstasy? You know what I mean? So I mean, it was like at the ass and ecstasy time too. Everybody's like, "Oh man, I take 30 of those." What the 30? Anyway, so you know, I had kind of come on the ass then. So I got in the mix, started hanging out with my brother and all the buddies, but they're still on the bar scene. Everybody's going to the bars. So that's all we did, man, all week. I think I got a job, lasted for maybe 2 weeks before I quit it. And oh, what happened was I got a job. I worked maybe 2 3 weeks, maybe even a month or so. But as soon as the child support kicked in on my check, and I seen that all those hours I was working and they were taking all my money, my check was super low, babe. I'm talking to the wife over here. So my checks were looking like really piddly. And here I am going to the bars at night with people, and people got big bags of Coke. You know, I've been offered big bags of, hey man, I got some Glig. You want to sell some Glig for me? Glass, you know, meth in other words. And I'm like, no. But all of a sudden the child support hit, and I wish I'd have started paying it and kept the job, just for the record. But now I'm 25 in debt. But but instead of doing that and manning up and keeping the job and maybe getting a better paying job down the line, I chose to quit the job. I started seeing my buddy at the old Derby on the west side, and I said, "Yeah, I want a bag of that." And I made more money selling that shit. The last when it first came out, it was double the price of anything on the street, and I was killing it. And I thought that was, and I thought that was the answer. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, because eventually I started using it. I was doing lines of meth. I was doing lines of coke in the bar bathrooms after I was half drunk. Um, we started getting into bar fights and shit, and everything that had happened before I went to prison was in full swing again. And you know, and it wasn't a gentle creep up either. It's like it just all hit me right in the face, and that's what everybody was doing. So I had to get in to fit in, or be the uncool dude or whatever you want to call it. But I was always I need attention. I'm gonna fit in. I can hang with the big dogs kind of guy, you know. And that probably went on for a couple years. I was in a relationship where she was even like, oh yeah, she was pushed. Her ex, the girl I was with, her ex was it sold a lot of dope before me. So she was pushing me to push more and helping me with old customers. And eventually I started using more and more because I was making more and more money. Well, before I know it, I was full blown, man. I was just throwing everything away. I was ending up in and out of jail. The girl was getting discontent with that, like like I can't be with this guy. He can't stay out of jail. He can't stay out of trouble. We're always in fights. Um, I would say around what was it? Oh, what year was that? 2003, I think it was. About 2003, I go down to Illinois. Me and this girl broke up. Um, my buddy just chimed in. You didn't mention your daughter, Rick. I'm not there yet, bro. She's coming in the end. He's Vanessa. But so I was in a really rough patch. We broke up. I was living in a friend's little closet type of room. Um, and I was totally a mess. I mean, I was just a hot mess. Um, so my brother was like, I'm going to Illinois this weekend. Yeah, you want to go? So I said, yeah, let's do it. I need a break. I got to get out of here. I got to go see my brother. It's in Illinois, hang out down there for a little bit. So I went down there to hang out. And we ended up going to a bar. The night we got there, it was late. It was like 11 o'clock or something. We stopped, got a case of beer, and I was like, cool, we'll just go to his house and chill. So we get to my brother's, and everybody's like, let's go to the bar. I don't want to go to the bar, dude. I'm depressed. I'm coming down off of meth. I just want to go relax, We ended up going to this bar, and we're hanging. It's out down on the Illinois River, hanging out. And there's this guy down there that walks into the bar. He's my brother down there's like, he just didn't like my brother down there, and we didn't like this guy. I knew there was going to be a fight or problems. I'm like, let's just leave, guys. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be problems. But we had like 5 people, guys. It was just him. So nobody wanted to listen to me. They're like, it's fine. He ain't going to do nothing. He's by himself. Well, 2 hours later, the bar closes, and there's a whole bar full of people. and all these people from town are his friends. Next thing you know, there's a fucking rumble. Long story short, I end up outside. I end up stabbing 3 guys up. Stab one guy good, cut another guy's hand, another guy cut him across the back, and got caught. We got in a van and got away. And we got up the road, and they had the road blocked off already, the cops. So this was my, went to jail. We got my second assault. I don't know how I only got the time I did. Thank God I did, but I still learned my lesson. I got, God, what was it, 15 months or 30 months? It was 30 month sentence I got down there in Illinois. They cut your time in half to 15 months, and you get 6 months in the door. Good time. So I was out of there from whatever it was, 7, 8 months I did. And that was my second time in prison. I got out. I was on paper. I had to stay in Illinois for a while. I pretty much did the same shit down there, I believe. I started drinking again, started smoking weed, got really bored. The town they lived in, I stayed in with my brother. It was super boring. It was a little town, and around it was all cornfields. So I got bored, got sick of being down there. My buddy Rick, I think he's watching. So my boy Rick, if you're watching, buddy, I think he came down there. We were hanging out a little bit back and forth, doing our drinking and whatnot. I ended up coming back to Minnesota because I was bored. I broke parole and just left the state. 2004, I believe this was. I get up, and this is when I moved to Hastings. This is when I moved to Hastings, 2004, and started hanging out up there. Didn't really use meth yet, but I was drinking and smoking weed, and yet, keyword. I moved to Hastings, and I wasn't doing meth yet.
Well, I mean, you just go to all these different places, and you end up doing the same thing you always do.
Always do. Everywhere.
Right? I mean, it's real simple, right? We do the same thing over.
It doesn't matter if it's a different state, a different town.
No,
you know what?
Especially not with you, man. Wherever you go, you're stabbing people.
Right.
We get it.
We get it.
Straight up. That's what I got. Everywhere you go, you're stabbing somebody. In Illinois, you stab somebody.
Yeah.
And this was, I didn't know none of this stuff. But
no? Yeah.
We're running on 40 minutes on here. So
Are we?
Yep. We need to talk about.
All right.
I want you to talk about what happened, man. What happened when you were sober? We know for sure.
Let's get there.
You were a mess, just like a lot of us. But yes. Because I remember when you got out this time, right? When you got out this time, something was different. And that's what we want to know. We want to know that. And we want to know that because that's important. That is the most important thing that we're going to talk about tonight is what happened now. Because all that other stuff is great.
It's past.
Right. It's great. And that did happen. And it is relevant, especially you talking about your parents and your upbringing, because that's the stuff.
That really,
that's the stuff that influenced you at a young age. But you said it yourself, as a man, we can't blame other people when we start to make the same mistakes over and over. And you knew in your heart and you knew in your head, right? Those were the warnings of alcoholism and the things.
And drug addiction.
Right. And we still chose to do the same things that our parents did. Right. And then we wanted to blame our parents for it. Even when we were 25 years old, I did. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right. So what happened? this time, brother, because I know you got sentenced to some time in Minnesota.
Okay, so
And then when you got out, you were on a different
I was
note.
on a whole different level.
Yep, and that's let's get into some meat. We got some time.
Let me get into let me cut through 04 to like I'm gonna go to like all the way to 09, okay? Because I did the same stuff in and out of jails all the way to 09.
Yep. Perfect.
I ended up doing a lot of the meth. Boom, 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 boom. I got stuck on that was it. I didn't do no other drugs. I actually even didn't get in no fights once I got hooked on meth.
Yeah.
I was too busy getting high.
Yeah.
So about 2009, I made my first attempt at treatment. And this is from 2000 to 2009 of using meth when I wasn't in jail. Meth and alcohol, pretty much. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I went to Teen Challenge. I did 60 days. That didn't work. It was good, but I got out after the 60 days and I didn't stay in the long-term program, which I think if I would have, I might have been ready. I don't know. Right. All I know right now as we're sitting here, I wasn't ready for Teen Challenge. I wasn't ready to quit.
That's right.
And being an addict and seeing addicts out here and knowing it, you got to know when you're ready to quit. You got to want to quit. I wasn't ready. I tried that in 2009. Later that year, I went to Salvation Army. I went back there twice. I got violated after I got kicked out of Salvation Army. I think you worked there then. The second time I was there. So I got kicked out, got a violation, went to Lino Lakes. When I got out of Lino Lakes, I got out to Hastings. I had, from 04 to this time period, to 2010-11, I built a lot of relationships in Hastings with a lot of people we know out there.
Yep. Right. That's where we know each other.
Right. And that's when I moved in with our friend Kurt. 2011, we got a job. We were doing some work for some guy, I can't remember. We were going in what's that when they take your house? What's that called when they take your house? Foreclosure. Yeah, repossession, foreclosed houses, and we were cleaning them out for this company. So anyway, I ended up getting back into the drugs. Somebody came out to that house that I knew from my growing up, my neighborhood, and introduced me to, meth right from the bump again, where I was trying to stay clean again. This is after getting out of Lino. My uncle had actually just overdosed. I went to his funeral. Bam, I'm living with Kurt. We're working. We're doing good. And I was doing good. We were doing really good. And this friend came out and introduced me and said, "Can you get rid of this?" And left me a big bag. And I was like, "Yeah." And that was it. So anyway, long story short, I went on a 2-year run from that. I got caught finally in 2013, and this is when this is the sad part. So 2013, I left somebody's house in Hastings. We got pulled over. I had a gun in my backpack. Went to jail. The cops found it in the backpack. I said, "That's mine," because I didn't want the guy driving to get blamed for it. Because I could have just said it was my backpack. But so I went to jail for that. While I was in there, I was pitching him the Teen Challenge. I'll go to Teen Challenge. I need treatment. My dad ended up coming to see me one day, and he was really sick. And he couldn't even breathe. He's gasping as he's in the visiting chair. I'm like, you okay, Pops? He's like, yeah. He had a blockage in his artery, and he was going to go to the hospital. So 2 weeks later was his birthday. I called home to my brother. I'm like, "Hey, how's Dad going? Did you get that surgery?" Well, my brother tells me on the phone, he's like, "Oh my God, you didn't hear." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Dad died." So that that fucked me up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, hang on. I need a break. Hang on.
Yep.
So that was one of the life-changing events.
That's right.
So that's what did it for me. God dang. I every time I tell my story, it gets me right here too.
That's all
So
right, bro. Hey, bro. Takes a man to do what you're doing.
so I
Hey,
cried.
all that stuff, man, that we talk about in the past, all the people that you fought, all the people that we disagree with, you know, that stuff, what you're doing right now makes you the toughest, baddest mother out there. Straight up, man. It
Just
makes
get
you more tough than anybody that can walk up and fight,
I hear
right?
you.
Because we're
Yeah.
sharing what's real. And I
Yeah.
know, man, I lost my dad too. And you go ahead, man. I'm
That
with you. I'm with you. It hurts.
that
And I
killed
was,
me, dude.
yep.
I dropped I just started crying so hard in jail, dude. And some guy was loud and I screamed at him and he says what's going on and they locked me down. And I had to deal with that, dude, in the county.
Mm,
And like I couldn't my family fought for me to get out to go to his funeral and the service. And we had to go to the judge and get it okayed. And I went back to my cell that night and I cried and I dropped to my knees and I asked God to I just said, just please take this fucking addiction away from me, you know. And without saying fucking, I don't think he'd intercept that good. Anyway, and yeah, dude, and I cried and it hurt and I every day, dude, every day. There's, I think there's this the military guard up in there. He's a CO, but he's a military dude. He's just a dickhead. And he let me out of the cell one day, and he says, "I lost my dad too." And he goes, "I know how it is." And he goes, I'm not doing no special favors, but I'm gonna let you stay out here, grab them up, clean up, get out of your cell, and stay away from your cellie and get some you time." So he did this every day. He was on shift, and that meant a lot, dude.
mm.
And you know what I mean.
I
So
do know what you mean, bro. That's
um,
God.
my
That's God
next,
all day.
yeah, because you know how Dakota County jail is, man, and the guards
Oh
can
yeah.
either be real cool or real dicks. That or they can treat you like a sack of shit, and it's how you treat them. So long story short, the court date came for the gun. I told the attorney, they said, "You're not getting teen challenge." The judge said, "You can go to treatment in prison." I got treatment there. I'm like, okay, well, tell him 48 months and I'll plead guilty right now. So he came back from talking to the judge and he said, the judge said 49. Now, mind you, it's a 60-month minimum on guns. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know
So,
this. But no
so
one
he
else.
came back. No one else does. Yeah. So he came back and it said, the judge said, "You take 49 months, plead guilty today, and that's that." And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I took 49 months, went to prison. This is where my whole, this is where I started my whole rehabilitation. Um, I wanted recovery. I wanted to stay clean. I didn't want to let my dad down. I thought about all the time we missed from using, and I could have been spending it with him. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get out. I'm going to be a dad. Uh, James's mom was pregnant with him at the time, my 7-year-old, who I have now, for the last 5 years. Um, And, her mom was on the phone with me one day, and I said, I promise I'm going to get straight and I'm going to take care of my son. And that promise to my dad that I'm going to stay clean. So I went to Lionel Lake's triad. Believe it or not, I wanted treatment, but when I got there, I didn't want treatment. And I was still fighting it. You know what I mean? Even though I wanted it. So, I mean, I was doing it. It was just a real tough go at it, because there's triad really makes you look at a lot of shit. Dude, this was like a really, man, in depth, in your face. They call you out on all your bullshit.
Yeah, that's what's up. I love it.
And I really wasn't. I ain't that kind of guy, and I wasn't real. I couldn't take that shit, strict, tough criticism, and hey, do you know you're doing this? This is wrong. This, and this, and I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. So, dude, 8 months of, a lot of guys called it brainwashing, and
Your brain needed to be washed. Let's
it
keep it real.
needed to be bleached and fucking, you know what I mean? Pour some acetone in that fucker and clean it out. But I mean, they did a good job. They really did a good job of making me look at the stuff that was affecting me, from my childhood to my adult life, the people around me, what I like going back to. And they had these thinking report things where you write down a situation. Well, I bumped into a guy and he shoved me and called me a dickhead this morning. Okay. And it was like feelings, reaction, or something. It was the three things, like how to make you feel, and something, and then the action, like you told him to fuck off. Okay. Well, the flip side of that, you had to write your feelings, an alternate reaction to that. Like, I could have just said, hey, excuse me, I'm sorry, it was my fault, and walked away. Okay. Now think of that with 1,000 different scenarios, and you had to write these thinking reports every single day. You had to journal every day. Every time something bothered you or something went wrong, or if you had an argument with somebody, you had to sit down and talk to them. I ain't good at talking to people about confrontation with them. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, they made me do all that shit, and I ended up getting pretty good at it. I got pretty good. I got pretty good at it, dude. You know,
Bro, you're like, yeah, I ain't really, but they made me do all that stuff, and I'm good at it.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I can actually do that now. By the time I left, and so I got into I went from there. I graduated. I got into minimum. I had to wait like a month or two, and I went out to minimum at Lino, which was, that was cool. I got a little job in the kitchen for 2 months, and I went out to minimum. Got on a crew to go out, and I was in aftercare and doing that thing. And so anyway, while I was in Lino, I had a couple people in there telling me about the White House. Okay, White House, got to represent that. That's the place that saved my life right there. So, and I'm like, what's the White House? And I think my brother told me, and someone else told me. Well, my brother broke anonymity, and no, he told me about two good friends of mine that were going there, and so's got this many years, bro, and so's got this many years. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. How the hell is he 6 years clean and he's 5 years clean, right? Because I was getting upstairs, buddy, upstairs. Okay, love you. Okay. Anyway, I don't want the young buck listening to that. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe you can hear the good part here. So anyway, I was blown away because last time I seen either one of these guys, we were a hot mess. We were high, we were stealing, we were doing this, we were doing, you know what I mean? So I was like, wow, that's the spot, right? So I kept that in mind. Hey, I'm going to try to go there when I get out. These meetings sound good. So anyway, I get out of Lionel Lake's minimum, and I go to RSE, West 7. I'm sitting there, and I don't know if it was the first or the second night, but I'm talking to some of the guys. They're like, "Hey, man, I overheard them saying to go to meetings." I'm like, "Man, I'm trying to go to this White House. Y'all know where that is?" They're like, "Yeah, we're going tonight. You want to go?" And I'm like, well, "Hell yeah." You know what I mean? So, man,
I went to the White House when I got out too, bro.
did ya?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the spot, bro.
I was in a halfway house in South Minneapolis when I got out.
Which
And
one's
I
yours,
had my
man?
boy T-Dog bring me to the White House.
That
Yep. I
that's
think I
the
spent my
spot that
10 months there, 9 or 10 months or something there.
yeah. Oh, in your halfway house you were
Michelle,
there?
Michelle Sosnowski was there with me.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were out. We were just hanging out, But we went to the White House because hey, that's where everybody was at, man. I
yeah,
was over
that's
in Minneapolis. I did a lot of things in Minneapolis, but I went to the White House a few times to meet
yeah.
up with some of the people from our old life.
In 2218, I ended up going there a little bit. That was a pretty cool spot, breaking the bad meeting. So anybody watching that is a super good meeting in Minneapolis. I really stuck to that one, and I went to the White House and the downtown Alano. So that first night when the guys were like, "We're going here," and so they told the lady, "Hey," he said, "Can Chad go with tonight?" Da 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 da. It's his first night here, and she was like, "Yeah, you just got to sign out here. Here's a card." So bam, I went. We took the bus, but we're headed there, and the two clowns I went with, okay, they've been there a while. They're fucking the system up. I mean, they're cutting corners already. So these dudes end up. We take the bus. We end up on the east side. I'm like, whoa, where the fuck what's going on? They're all talking to people on their. They pull out phones and hey, woo, woo, da da da. I'm like, oh hell no, you motherfuckers ain't getting me jammed up. Look, hey, hold up, dude. You might not care if you go back, but I got shit to live for out here. So I called and I didn't know who to call. I had an old number of an old using friend. And um and I was like, I called this lady up and I'm like, look, these motherfucking clowns I'm with have got me on the east side when I'm supposed to be at this White House over in Mounds. I need a ride there. And she's like, oh my God, Chad, I'll be right there. She came, picked me up. They were like, their plans fell through. So they're like, come on, let's go. Gave us a ride to the White House. We call in because you got to call when you get there.
Oh, yeah.
So we called in. They used a fake caller ID app to call in, saying we were there already. So right there, I knew these dudes ain't the ones I'm going to meetings with. Right? Right?
Red flag.
Fuck no. Red flag right there, dude. These dudes are clowns. Yeah, they're just clowns. And guess where both of them are? I think one's on the street, but he ain't doing no good. The other one's in prison again, clearly. But so I get to the White House and start going there 2 times a week, Wednesday, Fridays, and I just start listening, dude. I just sponged it in and stuff, and started looking at who were serious about the recovery, and who ain't serious about it, and listening to if there's gossip over here, I don't want to be there. I want to be over here by these older people that are smarter and know what they're doing and they've been there a while. So I started latching on to the people with 6, 7, 8 years sobriety, dude, and hanging out over in their crowd. The key thing about the meetings for me was small group. I'll admit now a lot of people I did last night. It was great. It was one of the best feelings I had in months, because I don't get to go to meetings a lot anymore. I try to, but life and family and stuff. But I really needed one. I went there and went to small group, and I got out of that small group some answers that I needed. First things that have been bugging me, and I'm like, see, that's what I miss about this right here, and that's through the corona and all this shit. But anyway, when I started going back in 2015, I was going to the small groups, and that's when you talk to people, you talk about the subject or topic, and everybody shares on it, and that's where you start getting answers to shit. How did he get over somebody in his family dying and not get high? How did he get over breaking up with his girlfriend and not get high? Or, anything. Oh, he lost his job, he didn't get high. Or, hey, he got his job because he stopped getting high, or, just anything. But I heard all these answers to situations that I needed to hear. So I knew how to reinforce my change in, should I say, my change in my beliefs and behavior from all the treatment and brainwashing that I got that I needed. You know what I mean? So it took me about I don't know, I would say a month or so in. I asked a guy to sponsor me because I was like, this dude's some serious business right here, and he's hanging out with all these people with, 8, 9, 10, 12 years of sobriety. So he was like, well, yeah, I'm not really sponsoring right now. So, I came back a couple of days later, asked him again. And then I gave it a week. Then I asked him again. And then he finally said, okay. He says, no bullshitting. You keep coming to the meetings, because he's seen I was coming to the meetings, and you don't really want to be sponsored someone that just comes and he's fucking off or what. But because I was hanging out with people or coming with people that were fucking off, he was a little timid about taking me on because he didn't know if I was one of them or if I was serious. And he took me when he seen that I was serious, and he listened to me in small group and stuff. And so he started coming to RS Eden on the days I couldn't go to meetings and working the steps with me, and we got him approved to come. So that getting him as a sponsor, continuing to go to them meetings, seeing my two buddies there who were like my inspirations. I call them my inspirations for getting sober, because they are, two kids from the West Side that we were all stuck in that meth life of despair, and you're never getting out, right? So anyway, I want to get to some good parts. I started working my steps and was working on amends and all that good stuff. And I reached out to my daughter that I haven't been in her life for her whole life. I think she was 20. Was she 21 at the time? I think 21. And mind you, I haven't been in her life for her whole life. So, and it was like, this is a really important topic. I got to hit on it. I'm sorry. It's going to take a couple minutes. Through my addiction, I found out when I got out of South Dakota that she was my daughter, and I wanted to reach out. And then I think in between getting drunk and high, and then as time went on, it was like if I didn't reach out at a certain point, I would feel more guilt and shame about it. And then I would get stuck in my addiction so far that I always felt like I was chasing my tail, and it was too late, and oh, this ain't gonna work. She's not gonna want me around. Well, anyway, long story short, I reached out to her when I got out, and I didn't lie to her. I told her straight up, here's the deal. I said, I'm your dad. I can't remember the exact words, but I didn't make no excuses. I said, I have no excuses. I was on drugs. I was been in and out of prison. Pretty much I have been no good my whole life, and I didn't want to reach out to you then. And I would really like to have you in my life and be a part of your life. And she responded with yes. And that was pretty cool. Yeah. So that was a really big step in my healing process right there. From my dad dying to getting my daughter in my life that I neglected and wasn't in her whole life. I could have been a dad and a role model and just a dad. You know what I mean? And I wasn't. And I missed a lot. She went to college. She did a lot of good things with her life, and I missed all of it. So, but I'm here now, and I get to, and we got a good relationship, and yeah. and we have a really good relationship.
I think I remember when that happened. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think I've seen pictures of her. Yep. She's your
And
oldest daughter,
my
right?
oldest child, yeah.
Yep.
And uh so I've got, and I'm working on my other two kids. I've got this other lady working on, she's a parenting consultant working on two of my kids to get, I got to do, what is that called? Reunification therapy with my two kids. Um, some of my older kids are a little distant, but I know one of them's a hit or miss, you know, but for the most part, I got most of my kids in my lives except for the two, Callie and Colton. I'm working on them. I'm hoping within a year or two we're gonna have a relationship, and after that's really complete, and I get a relationship going with them, I think, with Marion, my beautiful wife over here, and the family I got going on right now in life. I work in the union. I get up in the morning, I put the boots on, I go to work my ass off, come home, and you know, spend time with my family and do what I can to better myself. I got a lot of work though. We're not all perfect. I'll be the first to admit I got some character defects I still need to work on. But
We
I'm
all do.
I am a lot better off right now in life than I was 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And if it wasn't for the White House, it wasn't for treatment. Um, and it really was. And I always say it was my dad's death that broke the camel's back, dude.
Hmm.
He was our role model, even though from my childhood I said how there was a bad influence. He was our rock, and I loved him to death. And his death turned me into the man I am today because I went to stepped up to the plate and done what I did. And
Right.
now I can admit when I'm wrong. You know, Sometimes I bicker about it a little bit, but I'm here, man. I love my family. I love my recovery family. Um, I love seeing people make it, and I pray that there's some people out there that make it, that are struggling. There's a lot of people who just don't see the light yet, and if we can get one person tonight, that would be sweet. You know what I mean? If we can just touch one soul, that would be worth a lifetime. You know,
That's right.
so
Yeah.
that's about it for me, man. Life is good, man. You know, I I couldn't ask for nothing better. It's good.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to my kids getting older, so I can do more adult things with my wife, and they get out of our hair. And no, but I love my kids. I got my two boys. Kian lives with his mom, but we got James, and he's an awesome kid. He reminds me every day of I call him my karma baby, and he reminds me how to have patience and just be a dad.
That's right.
And it's a blessing to be able to be here to be a dad for him, and not make the mistakes I did with my older kids, because some of them ain't real happy with me. They don't always show it, but there's times when they do and let me know. But you know, when they're on their good times, and they admit they understand where I was, so you know, so yeah,
When it's all said and done, when it's all said and done, bro, you're doing what you got to do today.
yep,
You are doing what you got to do today. We can never change the past. What we can do with the past is use it for our growth and
yeah,
use it for our future, right? Um,
amen.
definitely wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing your story. Definitely a lot of got a lot of exactly what Against the Odds is all about, man. All in your story, right? I say it all the time. You think you're tough, right? We think we're tough. We think we're
Yeah.
badasses. We're going getting in fights. I
Hey,
mean, you were tough. You're tough, dude.
hey,
Straight up.
put on your work boots and go to
Right.
work
Put on
every
your
day.
work boots. Go to work every day.
Yeah.
Do something nice for someone else.
Yeah.
Share. Be vulnerable. That's what toughness is.
Give another man a hug.
Exactly.
At
Give
these
another man a hug and love your children.
we see these guys at meetings, there's newcomers and stuff, and you go to give them a hug, and they're like shy away. It's okay, bro. It's all right to give a hug or get a hug. You know,
That's right.
it's all right. It's better than hugs, not drugs, man. Thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody. I like to thank everybody who watched. You guys, appreciate it. Love you all. If I don't know you, my name's Chad. Going on 8 years free of the devil. You can do it too. Find a good meeting. You might not like the one you go to. Find another one. Find a sponsor. Find good people to hang around with. You know what I mean? That's the key. The key is not hanging out with old friends is one of the keys. I forgot to mention that. You got to put them old friends behind you, because if they're real friends, they'll respect that and will not contact you if they're still using.
That's right, brother. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove you off the screen here, and then I'm going to tell everybody peace. If you want to stay on the backside, you can. Otherwise, you can hang up. I always advise you, because we have lots of comments. People have been commenting on your live ever since you started. So I always advise people to go back, right, and take some time and read the comments, because people are sending encouraging comments to you, supportive comments, and you'll be able to respond to them, because right now you can't see those comments.
No.
And it's important that I say that, because people are telling you how good of a job you've done and how proud they are of you. And I wanted to tell you that too. I do thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It always has. And I'll be having you back on here, like I do a lot of people that are coming on, in the first stages of this, right? I plan on bringing it a little deeper in some content, in some videos that I do, and especially with guys like me and you that have been through,
hell and back.
The ringer, have been through a Department of Corrections treatment center that has changed our lives. We didn't get a chance to pick our parents, right? So we kind of grew up with some odds stacked against us right from the get-go. And what's important is we did have those odds against us, and sometimes we did look up to the wrong things. But what matters is what we're doing today and what happened and what we did with it. And all the mistakes that we made in the past, we're learning from them even today. We can sit back and learn from a lot of stuff. I heard a lot of good stuff in your story, man. One of the things that our parents did the best they could with what they had. And that's something that you recognized, and you use that because I know for sure from just knowing you on Facebook and watching your story and watching you throughout the entire time you've been released this time, right?
Yeah.
Watching you grow. I remember talking to you right when you got out. You were like, listen, bro, I ain't messing around with none of them cats.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you a few
None
times when you got out, man. And you've made right with your mistakes, right? You're making right, and you continue to do that. And we got to understand, and this because I hear it in your story, and this is what I like to tell people. It's a daily thing, right? It's a daily reprieve. We have to live this way every day of our life in recovery, because if we don't, then it means that we didn't care about the past, that we hurt all these people. Like, with guys like me and you that sold pollution, right?
Right.
We killed people. We took people's
from their kids.
There's people out. Yep. We took people from their kids. We took power from their homes. We took money. We took food from the table. The ripple effect goes ginormous, right?
Yes.
Until we realize that, right? And realize that, hey, we were polluting the world, right? And when we realize that, we realize that's when we really can understand and we can really change, because we see the effect we had on people. And that, for myself, I speak personally, and I see that effect. And I still see people today that still struggle with things that were influenced back in those days with me. So it's like, it's time for me to promote positivity and promote hope and inspiration, and try to make amends, a daily amends, a living amends, so to say,
Amen.
to the community
Right.
that
Right.
we harmed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what we did tonight, man. And that's really what we did tonight together. We got to two guys that used to pollute the community, that used to destroy the community, that they had to lock up not once, not twice, but 3 times in a correctional facility, right? Because
Right.
we couldn't make it on the streets. And I like to say
No.
this, Chad. I like to say this because it's the truth. I took the easy way out. I was a coward.
Easy. Oh, that was always easy.
Easy selling dope.
Hey,
Like you said,
free room and board too.
I killed it. Yeah, of course we did.
Right.
And we were killing a lot of other people in the process too.
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do here. That's why we spread the hope, and that's why we always share hope and inspiration instead of negative. You know, a lot of things on social media can be negative, and you know that's not what I like to do on this page. I like to help other people promote their stories as well. I could go on and on, but I do have to get going because I have a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, why don't you get ready for Florida or something, buddy?
All right, man.
All right. Man, that's going to be fun. I wish I was coming, but we had our fun down there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. You go have fun.
I will. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate everything. Thank you for sharing. Go through the comments when we hang up and read through and see what's up. See if those people that told you they were watching were watching.
Okay. And then hey, when we hang up, do I stay on this to see?
No.
I can just go on Facebook, right?
Yeah, go on Facebook. Just leave the studio. Just hit that leave the studio button.
All right. Good night, buddy.
All right, brother.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
All right, everybody. What up? Another amazing testimony, another encouraging story on a Saturday night. I thank you guys all for tuning in. We did reach 2,600 Facebook likes on this page. If you haven't liked this page, please do so. If you haven't shared this page or this live, please do so. This helps us to reach people. Like Chad said, man, if we could just get one person that's on the fence tonight about changing their life, no matter what it is, right? If we can just give them that courage and that hope for them to actually follow that decision up with some actions, right? And maybe reach out to me, reach out to Chad, reach out to whoever. I seen that there was a girl on here for the first time, and I definitely wanted to say hi to her. I'm looking for that comment. I believe her name was Jennifer. Welcome, Jennifer, to Against the Odds. Thank you for tuning in. Pleasure to have you. Hopefully you enjoyed our show. Anyway, see you guys next week on Against the Odds. I should be broadcasting from a different state next Saturday, so stay tuned. We have another special guest with a special story of hope and inspiration for your next Saturday night, of course. You guys have a great night. Thank you for all you do to help us continue to spread hope to the hopeless. Peace. Maybe. Did it end? Nope. Peace.